Inside Magoo is so brilliant. This is a 1960 short film directed by Abe Levitow and John F. Becker. It's written by Albertino, Dick Kinney, and John F. Becker. And it includes Marvin Miller as the narrator. We have Jim Backus as Mr. Magoo. He also appears as himself in a live action feature that also includes Stephen Bosustow. I apologize if I mispronounced that. Jeff Corey and Joi Lansing. And this is produced in part with the American Cancer Society. And half of it is an animation with Mr. Magoo encouraging him to go and get a cancer checkup. And I will be spoiling the outcome of the checkup because I really want to talk about that moment. But I will discuss the ending of the checkup towards the end in case you don't want to know, but you can probably guess what happens. And Mr. Magoo is not considering himself as having cancer. He's not interested in going to the checkup. He really doesn't want to go. He'd rather go to the amusement park, which features in this animation. But this truck comes along, and on the side of the truck, it has all of the different symptoms written, very bold and clear, easy to read on the screen, just a couple of words at a time. Definitely very digestible. And Magoo ultimately decides to go and get his checkup. And I'll talk about the ending of that in a moment. Magoo is a delight. I love the character. And if this is your introduction to Mr. Magoo, it might be quite a dark introduction. I guess it's quite a heavy topic, but also one that's really important. And I think using Magoo is a really great tool to make it an engaging cartoon while also delivering potentially life-saving information. I think they did an amazing job with it. Magoo was, of course, very likable in this. I feel like he probably represents a lot of people. I am somebody who would bury my head in the sand. I shouldn't. I know I shouldn't. But like a lot of people, I'd rather just not know and be oblivious. And it's a really unhealthy way to approach things. And this is what we have with Mr. Magoo. He'd rather just not go, but then ultimately he does. And I'll talk about that, as I said, in a moment. And I think if it encourages even one person to go to a checkup, and if they have cancer and it's found early and they begin treatment and it saves a life, that's amazing. Not many cartoons can save a life, but this has the power to do that. And it is just as relevant today. And obviously it's quite generic. There are a lot of cancers, a lot of different symptoms, but it covers kind of a snapshot overview of potential symptoms. Obviously the whole cartoon is, the whole thing is about 15 minutes, but about half of that is the cartoon. And obviously that's a lot of information to put into a short space of time, but I think they did a really good job with hitting key points and basically just saying, if something doesn't feel right, go and get a checkup because you never know. And I think they did a wonderful job with it. Very engaging, entertaining, very powerful. The second half is the live action. And this is brilliant because it's all about what to expect at your appointment. And speaking as somebody who has never gone to a cancer checkup or a cancer appointment before, I can only imagine what it might be like. So to have an actual kind of role play almost of what it could be like can be really reassuring to help people to get an understanding of what kind of things might be discussed, what kind of examination might take place. Again, there are many types of cancer, so it's going to be different, but as a general overview, I think that it was pretty powerful and really nice to include. And I think it was very, very well done. Before I talk about Magoo's appointment, do I recommend this? Without question. It is, on the one hand, very entertaining because Magoo is a very entertaining character, very well animated as well, but it's also really important and educational, beautifully put together, very impressed, really thoroughly enjoy it. Yes, it's quite a bit old now, 64 years roughly, but it's still relevant. And that's not always the case with medical-based films. The older they get, because of advances in medicine and things, they do often become not completely correct, but with this one, still wholly relevant and absolutely worth watching because it is pretty powerful and very well done. I will now discuss Mr. Magoo's appointment because of how it made me feel. Mr. Magoo goes to his appointment and he comes out of the room afterwards and he is dancing around saying he hasn't got cancer. He is over the moon. I've never seen the character this happy. And of course, this is a response to the relief. And I feel like people don't want to go to an appointment in case they get bad news. But with Magoo there, I genuinely got really emotional because I imagine there are a lot of people who have symptoms. Maybe they have a family history, and they just kind of think, well, this is it, it's my time. But it might not be the case. So go to the appointment, and in an ideal world, there is not a diagnosis, and the relief that that must bring must be one of the best feelings in the world. And to see Magoo that happy, I genuinely got so emotional. It's only a couple of seconds, but it was very powerful. So I guess the advice of the cartoon is yes, go because it's important to get a diagnosis, but also to confirm that actually it's not that. And I think that sense of relief must be absolutely incredible. And we see this with Magoo. And it made me it made me tear up. It did. Very well done. Fabulous animation, really well packaged together. Inside Magoo is completely worth watching.